The scene at that time shocked him greatly. Such a divine ability was incredibly powerful. Clearly, it was something beyond the comprehension and mastery of ordinary cultivators. At this moment, feeling his body being controlled by the robed demon, as the solidified demonic claw pulled out the soul of the illusion star, its might was 1,000, even 10,000 times greater than that of the greedy wolf from back then. Everything in this world, from the tiniest blade of grass to the grandest tree, has a soul. Any being with life has its soul. This soul is elusive and intangible. It cannot be seen, but it can be felt. It's like a mortal standing beneath a towering peak, looking up and feeling a sense of awe and pressure. That pressure comes from the mountain soul, but the mortal can only see the mountain, while the soul of the mountain, though unseen, causes that overwhelming feeling. Every mountain, every river, has its soul, let alone a cultivation star brimming with spiritual energy. Unlike before when the spiritual energy was converted, as the soul of the illusion star was drawn out, the star did not tremble in the slightest. However, a strong, ancient aura seemed to awaken from the illusion star, slowly spreading out. This ancient aura was not something formed in 100, 1,000, or even 10,000 years. It was the result of countless ages, a subtle yet pervasive scent, neither joyful nor sorrowful. In this aura, there was only one thing: tolerance. It was the tolerance of all things in the world, accumulated over countless years. The rogue demon, controlling Wang Lin's body, reached down with his right hand. Immediately, this ancient aura crazily gathered towards the palm, rapidly condensing into a ball of gray mist. As the ancient aura fused with it, the mist compressed violently, emitting booming sounds, as if thunder was rumbling. Perhaps it was just an illusion, but in that moment, Wang Lin felt as though the illusion star had lost all vitality. The grass on the land instantly withered, the rivers vanished, and the mountains cracked open. With a wild laugh, the rogue demon's right hand grasped forward, shooting towards the immortal phantom. The speed was like lightning. In the blink of an eye, the soul of the illusion star was brought closer amidst the rumbling thunder. At this moment, Wang Lin had the sense that his own being was merging with the illusion star's soul. This strike was not his own power, but rather the power of the entire illusion star, striking in unison. The immortal phantom stepped forward as well, raising his palm. With the transformed spiritual energy of the illusion star, immortal power suddenly surged forth, charging toward the rogue demon. Two incredible divine abilities were now in close proximity, and in an instant, they collided. Boom, boom, boom. The violent sound echoed across the heavens and earth. The spiritual veins within the illusion star withered by a third in an instant. The earth trembled, sending out a strong shockwave that spread across the sky like a roar. The immense force caused the surrounding members of the Phantom Clan to retreat quickly. They immediately channeled their own spiritual and immortal energy, for they felt that without doing so, they would be consumed by the shockwave, their bodies instantly collapsing. At that moment, the immortal phantom in the sky suddenly shattered into wisps of smoke, vanishing into the air. As it all disappeared, a jade slip materialized. The moment the jade slip appeared, a series of cracking sounds erupted from it. In the eyes of all the Phantom Clan members, the jade slip shattered into dust and dissipated. But in the moment it shattered, a flash of white light flickered from the debris, transforming into a barrier of light, covering a 10-mile radius. The patriarch of the Phantom Clan's face turned pale. According to the clan's ancient teachings, if the jade slip of blessings shattered, it contained a defensive divine ability. However, this divine ability was weak in comparison. Its purpose was merely to give the Phantom Clan members in danger a brief moment of respite, to surrender, to end their lives, or to leave behind something for future generations. The rogue demon's right hand trembled slightly, and the soul of the illusion star vanished. The ancient aura slowly blended into the earth, gradually dissipating. In this battle, the greatest beneficiary was Wang Lin. This kind of battle, involving divine abilities of this level, was something beyond his cultivation. It completely transcended his level. Both the immortal phantom and the rogue demon's soul possessed the powerful strength to step into the second step of cultivation. For Wang Lin, This battle seemed to open a door that had been tightly sealed before. At this moment, that door had been cracked open, allowing him to glimpse another level and personally feel the power of that level. So, this is the power of the second step of cultivation. Compared to this, even the greedy wolf, the patriarch of the Phantom Clan, and Thousand Sunflower, though they too have stepped into the second step, are clearly just beginning to explore it, Wang Lin thought, shaken to his core. The second step of cultivation is terrifying. This battle, with the rogue demon controlling his body, also brought Wang Lin unimaginable benefits. Throughout the fight, the rogue demon only used one divine ability. But through Wang Lin's body, this divine ability became apparent to him. Everything that seemed hidden to others was now crystal clear to Wang Lin, including the flow of his internal immortal energy and the command over the world's breath during the soul extraction. All of this opened up a massive gap for Wang Lin to approach the second step. Never before had Wang Lin desired the second step more than now. Compared to such divine abilities, even my immortal guard puppet would be no match. The second step of cultivation is truly powerful. With each battle, an entire cultivation star could collapse. This is almost at the level of the ancient god's inheritance, where one could witness those divine abilities. Not only him, but even the members of the Phantom Clan, after witnessing this battle, each gained some insight, as if a whole new world had opened up to them. Yet, compared to Wang Lin, their gains were insignificant. Such opportunities were exceedingly rare. How many great cultivators, who had reached the second step and possessed the same level of power as Ling Tianhou, would descend to fight with others of equal strength? If a battle were to happen, they would usually come in person. It was rare for them to do so otherwise. The rogue demon manipulated Wang Lin's physical body. He glanced down at the celestial power barrier and snorted coldly. With a clenched fist, he struck the air fiercely. The strike was casual, but it carried the force of thunder, accompanied by thick, demonic energy, as it crashed into the barrier. Boom! The barrier cracked, but it did not collapse. Beneath the barrier, the patriarch of the Phantom Clan turned pale. Patriarch, hand over Lu Mei. Illusion Function said in a deep voice. He sighed inwardly. Although the other party was just a ascending cultivator, their magical artifacts and divine abilities were unimaginably powerful. Especially after the demon's appearance. Even if the patriarch's cultivation hadn't declined, they would still be no match. The patriarch of the Phantom Clan gazed at Illusion Function, who stood apart from him, then retracted his gaze and darkly looked towards Lu Mei. Lu Mei. The patriarch hesitated for a moment, then slowly spoke. However, before he could finish, Lu Mei raised her head. Her beautiful eyes looked towards the patriarch. She flicked her hair aside, then softly said, "Master, if I step out, I will surely die." Boom. The celestial power barrier took another strike from the rogue demon, and more cracks appeared. It was about to collapse completely. The rogue demon's arrogant laughter echoed through. The patriarch's expression darkened. He was unwilling to hand over Lu Mei like this, but if he didn't, once the rogue demon descended, he knew he wouldn't be able to resist alone. The Qian clan hadn't assisted, and although the Su clan had promised to help, they hadn't shown up yet. It was clear something had gone wrong. Now, everything rested on him. A cold light flashed in his eyes as he glared at Lu Mei and gritted his teeth, saying, "Lu Mei, even if you step out, you'll die. Why not give me your conceptual realm instead? If you do, I may be able to cultivate the formless heavenly demon path, and with that, I might stand a chance." He took Lu Mei as his disciple with the intention of gaining the slightest trace of the 10,000 illusions heavenly demon path from her. The ancestor of the Phantom Clan had once left behind two sets of divine abilities, the heavenly demon path and the formless path. But cultivating the heavenly demon path was extremely difficult, and to this day, no one in the clan had truly mastered it. Both divine abilities actually stemmed from the same conceptual realm, the formless heavenly demon path. This path had been created by the clan's ancestor before the immortal realm collapsed, during a meditation where he had become entangled with the outer demons. The realization he gained from this experience was left behind for future generations. After the collapse of the immortal realm, the Phantom Clan had relied on the formless heavenly demon path to maintain their footing, though its former glory had faded. Illusion Ruthless had thought about taking Lu Mei as a disciple because of her potential in the 10,000 Illusions Heavenly Demon Path. More importantly, he had planned to devour her power later on. He didn't hesitate to lower his cultivation to help her switch bloodlines, forcing her cultivation to reach the yin-yang void, so that he could control her and avoid any issues with future devouring. All his plans were already set. Once Lu Mei's cultivation reached the yin-yang void, and her conceptual realm was impacted, she would transform into a true heavenly demon path cultivator. He would then devour her and merge the power into the true divine ability of the Phantom Clan, the formless heavenly demon path. However, all of this was disrupted by Wang Lin's sudden appearance. Now, Illusion Ruthless thought it might be better to devour Lu Mei immediately. Even if he couldn't gain all of the formless heavenly demon path's power, he would still get some. Later, he could meditate and hopefully achieve a higher level of the path. With this thought in mind, Illusion Ruthless stared at Lu Mei, his eyes flashing with a strange light. Lu Mei's gaze was calm. With her intelligence, she had already realized the truth back in the Alliance Star domain. She knew that, apart from close family, there was no such thing as unconditional kindness in this world. If something like that happened, it was definitely driven by ulterior motives. However, Illusion Ruthless was too powerful for her to resist. She had no choice but to act unaware, letting him take her to the Luotian Star domain, where she underwent the blood replacement process. From the moment Illusion Ruthless had lowered his cultivation to help her reach the peak of ascending, she had confirmed in her heart that he had deep ulterior motives. But she was powerless to fight back. The harm caused by such forced cultivation growth, as she had learned from her time as a Vermilion Bird disciple, was something she understood all too well. "You must promise me two things," Lu Mei said softly. "The first thing, help me and kill Wang Lin." Her voice was gentle, but her eyes, peering through the barrier at Wang Lin, flickered with a complex hatred. Until this moment, the hatred she held for Wang Lin had always occupied her mind and body. This hatred sometimes even felt somewhat intangible, yet deep within her heart, she could never shake off the image of the young man she had seen hundreds of years ago in the Xun'er sect. Even more so, she could not erase the tenderness Wang Lin had shown to Li Muan. Furthermore, the incident at the Vermilion Bird tomb had reignited her hatred, especially after leaving the Vermilion Bird star. When she realized she was pregnant, her hatred only grew stronger. However, the cultivation of the illusory, heartless path made it difficult for her to discern which part of herself was truly her own. Heartless or affectionate, both carried the essence of emotions. The difference lay in two words, yet the gap between them was as vast as the heavens and the earth. Her emotions were complicated, to the point where even she herself could not distinguish her true feelings. Therefore, most of the time, her gaze was complex, especially when looking at the child. It became even more so. "Fine, I will do my best to help you fulfill this wish," the patriarch of the Huan family said decisively, without hesitation. "The second matter. If you cannot kill Wang Lin, then give him this storage pouch," Lu Mei said as she took out a storage pouch from her bosom, her eyes soft as she gazed at it. The patriarch of the Huan family frowned, but he nodded in agreement. The rogue demon controlled Wang Lin's body, striking the immortal barrier with punch after punch, causing ripples to form and cracks to appear. His laughter grew louder as he shouted, "Shatter!" With those words, it was as if the sound of a mirror shattering amplified 1,000-fold, echoing through the world. The last protective divine ability left by the immortal of the Huan family shattered. The rogue demon stepped forward, and under the surge of demonic energy, it spread from his body, immediately filling the air. Among the mist, Wang Lin saw Lu Mei sitting cross-legged on the ground. Behind her, the patriarch of the Huan family had his eyes closed, his right hand pressing against Lu Mei's head. A strange aura emanated from the patriarch. The rogue demon paused. Just then, the patriarch of the Huan family suddenly opened his eyes, and a gray light flickered in them. His body swayed, and in an instant, he soared into the air, as though his body had transformed into smoke, giving off an ethereal feel. "Not bad, little one. Your divine ability is impressive. You actually have the transformation of my ancient demon clan," the rogue demon said with a half-smile, examining him closely. Wang Lin's gaze, however, did not rest on the patriarch of the Huan family, but was instead fixed on Lu Mei. Her eyes were closed, and her aura was completely gone. Wang Lin's divine sense remained unfocused, unsure of what emotions were stirring within him. The patriarch of the Huan family's body, like smoke, swirled in the air. As his eyes became intensely gray, he breathed deeply and calmly gazed at Wang Lin, who was controlled by the rogue demon. Slowly, he spoke. "I only have one divine ability. Do you dare to face it?" The rogue demon laughed heartily and replied, "Let's see it then." The patriarch of the Huan family closed his eyes. He absorbed Lu Mei's conceptual realm and retracted the immortal power within him. His cultivation was not fully restored, but it was nearly complete. However, facing the demonic force merging with Wang Lin, he had no confidence. Even if he tried to escape, he knew he could never evade the other's divine abilities. Therefore, all his hope lay in the tiny trace of the formless heavenly demon path within him. After absorbing Lu Mei's conceptual realm and combining it with his own 10,000 illusions formless path, a trace of the formless heavenly demon aura was produced, though it was faint. A strange aura emanated from the patriarch of the Huan family's body as he closed his eyes. The aura grew stronger, and his body rapidly withered in an instant. In the blink of an eye, he appeared to transform into a skeleton. Following that, his bones melted and dispersed. In the end, the patriarch of the Huan family's entire physical form vanished, leaving only a storage pouch that, due to the patriarch's will, did not dissipate but fell to the ground. A thick gray mist spread out as the patriarch's body disintegrated. Inside it was the patriarch's essence spirit. This gray mist surged, merging into the essence spirit, making it gradually transparent, as though it was dissipating. But in that very moment, a strong sense of danger suddenly appeared in Wang Lin's heart. The rogue demon, however, looked at this with great interest, saying, "This divine ability is fascinating, very fascinating. The formless heavenly demon path truly transforms one into a formless heavenly demon. Every living being in this world can become a demon, and thus, formless, by gathering the demonic thoughts of all living beings and merging them into the 10,000 illusions heavenly demon path, one can become a truly carefree and formless heavenly demon." As the patriarch of the Huan family's physical form dissipated and his essence spirit turned to nothingness, countless illusory figures began to emerge from all directions. Waves of terrifying auras emanated from these phantom shadows, each possessing power comparable to the yin-yang void realm. Some of them were even more powerful. The power of this formless heavenly demon path was astonishing, and at this moment, it had not been fully unleashed. This was merely an opening act. Just then, a surge of black mist erupted from Wang Lin's celestial spirit within his physical body. The rogue demon burst forth, leaping into the air with a wild, ecstatic laugh. In that moment, it shook its body and opened its mouth wide, swallowing half of the ethereal shadows that had just appeared around it. What a feast! This little brat has excellent taste, bringing these things as tributes to me. If I hadn't made a prior agreement, I truly wouldn't want to kill you. The rogue demon cackled, devouring another large mouthful. With the rogue demon gone, Wang Lin regained control of his body. He flickered and landed on the ground, taking a step to stand before Lu Mei. Lu Mei's eyes were closed, and she was devoid of life. She had reached the realm of questioning the peak, with her essence spirit merged with her conceptual realm. As the conceptual realm was devoured, it took the essence spirit, which was naturally bound to her life. Meanwhile, following the rogue demon's gluttony, all the transformed ethereal shadows dissipated into nothing. In midair, the figure of the patriarch of the Phantom clan emerged, appearing ghostly and bitter. His formless heavenly demon only bore a fragment of its true strength. If Lu Mei had achieved a complete understanding of her conceptual realm, he could have truly transformed into the formless heavenly demon, rather than becoming fodder for the rogue demon as he was now. Sighing silently, the patriarch began to prepare his escape. The rogue demon laughed heartily, its demonic aura surging as it pounced, quickly enveloping the entire area. The patriarch of the Phantom clan was also caught within as the rogue demon took another bite, causing him to vanish. You, Wang Lin, have fulfilled my promise. The rogue demon suddenly turned, casting a sinister glance at Wang Lin before stepping into the void and disappearing without a trace. The surroundings fell silent. The Phantom clan stood in awe, the day's events leaving them both shocked and deeply respectful toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin gazed calmly at the closed eyes of Lu Mei, lost in thought for a long time without speaking. Illusion Fengshen hesitated for a moment, then stepped forward, whispering, "Friend." Before Lu Mei left, she made an agreement with Illusory Ruthless. If Illusory Ruthless fails to kill you, she will give you a storage pouch. Wang Lin raised his head, his gaze landing on the storage pouch that had fallen when Illusory Ruthless' physical form disappeared. He reached out, summoning it into his hand. Inside, there was a pill and a jade slip, with nothing else. Holding the jade slip, Wang Lin's divine sense probed inside. This pill is an antidote for the child's grudges. Using it alongside a cultivator of thunder-based divine abilities can alleviate most of it. My master wanted me to leave a mark within your Tao heart. Back then, I couldn't do it, but now I have. A gentle breeze swept across the ground, stirring up some dust and brushing against Lu Mei's form. Gradually, a diamond-shaped fragment lifted from her forehead and floated away with the wind. At the same time, more fragments began to emerge from her body, drifting backward until her entire physical form transformed into pieces, resembling fluttering butterflies, swirling upward as they were caught by the breeze. It was as if Lu Mei's figure emerged in midair. She looked down at the earth, her long hair swaying gracefully as she walked on, growing more distant until she vanished at the horizon's edge. Wang Lin lifted his gaze to the sky, remaining silent. In the cycle of life and death lies cause and effect. The causes of the past bear today's fruits. Dust returns to dust, and earth returns to earth. Everything is just a fleeting memory, an unawakened dream. Wang Lin sighed lightly and turned to leave. Is she truly dead? As Wang Lin walked away, he did not pursue this question further. Whether Lu Mei was truly dead or alive had lost its meaning to him. The dust had returned, and the earth had settled once more. In the eyes of the Phantom clan, Wang Lin's figure gradually faded until he disappeared at the horizon, leaving no trace. What remained were the lingering memories of generations within the Phantom clan. Wang Lin did not exterminate their clan. He felt exhausted, utterly drained. It wasn't his body that was weary, but his heart. After over 800 years of cultivation, he had experienced too much. In Falling Moon Village on Ranyun Star, a peculiar family appeared a few days later. It consisted of just two members, a young man with an air of untold weariness and a baby. In the starry sky of the Luodian star domain, at the same moment, the greedy wolf roamed with a darkened face, haunted by the overwhelming imprints on his body. Each time he thought of them, he felt his scalp prickle and a chill run down his spine. Damn Wang Lin. If I can't find him, any one of these marks could act up, and there would be no place for me to die. Beneath Chilean Peak, a small river meandered for miles, merging into a great river. Along its middle stretch lay a quaint mountain village, peaceful and picturesque, reminiscent of an idyllic pastoral scene. Back then, the water in this river was sweet, and sometimes there would be mist rising from the Chilean peaks. It said that if someone could breathe in the mist, they would strengthen their body and stay healthy for 10 years without getting sick. A young boy's voice echoed from the mountain village. The boy, around 14 or 15, had a round, strong face, and at this moment, he was speaking to 7 or 8 younger children about events that happened 5 years ago. Look at me. Have I been sick all these years? It's because my dad took me to breathe in the mist back then. That feeling was amazing, I tell you. The boy proudly gestured with his hands, vividly describing the experience. Around him, the other children widened their eyes, excitement evident on their faces. Clearly, they were captivated by the boy's story and longed to try the mist themselves. Wang Ping, you're the one who should have breathed in the mist. Too bad. Ever since the heavens grew angry 5 years ago, the mist disappeared. If not, your dad could have taken you, and I guarantee you wouldn't have gotten sick for 10 years. The boy's gaze shifted to one of the younger boys. This boy, about 5 or 6 years old, had a pale face and a weak body. He was noticeably shorter than the other children, with an extremely handsome appearance. If not for his sickly look at the moment, he would have looked like a porcelain doll, incredibly cute. He wore a rough, homespun shirt and was also showing excitement as he said, "Brother Zhou, I'll go back and tell my dad. Maybe he'll take me to see it." The boy laughed heartily and said, "Uncle Wang is a good carpenter, but now that the mist from the Chilean mountains is gone, how can he take you? I say, you guys should be like me. We practice swordsmanship every day, strengthen our bodies, and when we grow up, we'll roam the world with our swords." The boy's lofty ideals made the other children's eyes light up even more with excitement. Just as the boy joined in the excitement, smoke rose from the chimneys of the village, and calls echoed from the houses. The boy looked up, sighed, and said, "All right, let's call it a day for the martial arts assembly. After dinner, we can continue." Reluctantly, the children dispersed. The boy named Wang Ping walked toward the village, excitement still flickering in his eyes, occasionally glancing back at the distant Chilean peaks. As he walked, a strong man appeared at the entrance of the village. This man was tall and muscular, holding a hunting spear and arrows, with a roe deer slung over his shoulder. When the man saw the child, he smiled and said, "Little Wang from the Wang family, going to have another martial arts assembly with my little one?" The child shyly nodded and said, "Hello, Uncle Zhou." The man's smile deepened as he ruffled the child's head. "Looks like you're from a craftsman family. Not only are you handsome, but you're also more polite than my naughty boy. You're heading home, right? Come, let's walk together. I need to talk to your dad about something." The child eagerly nodded, and together with the man, they walked toward his home. Before long, they reached a simple house on the north side of the village. The child quickly ran ahead, shouting, "Dad, Uncle Zhou is here." Inside the house, a young man walked out. His appearance was ordinary, far from the handsome look of the child. Often, when the two stood together, most people would not believe they were father and son. The young man wore rough, homespun clothes, and his hands were calloused. He stepped out, smiling. "Big brother Zhou, looks like you had a good harvest today." The child ran inside the house, grabbed a white steamed bun, and sat next to the young man, eating it bite by bite. The strong man from the Zhou family set the roe deer down on the ground, laughing. "Wang family brother, we caught this roe deer as soon as we went up the mountain. It's a good catch." The young man smiled gently, his expression warm as he patted the child's head. With big brother Zhou's skills, catching a roe deer is easy. The man from the Zhou family laughed. "Wang, my boy is getting older. In a couple of years, I plan to find him a wife. We're building a house now, but we need some furnishings. I'll trouble you with that." The young man, Wang Lin, smiled and said, "Don't worry, big brother Zhou. I'll take care of it." The Zhou family man smiled and said, "All right, this roe deer will serve as a deposit." He cupped his hands in a salute and turned to leave. As soon as he left, the child leapt up from the stool, running toward the roe deer. He circled it, inspecting it closely. "Dad, Uncle Zhou is amazing. He caught this roe deer all by himself." The young man's eyes softened as he smiled. "Don't look at it for now, Pinger. It's time for you to take your medicine." The child sighed, looking up at the young man. "Dad, the medicine is so bitter." The young man brought out a bowl from the room, filled with white liquid that gave off no scent. The child took the bowl, grimacing as he drank it down. After finishing, he quickly ran to the water barrel to rinse his mouth, trying to get rid of the bitter taste. "Father, when can I stop drinking the medicine?" the child asked, turning to look at his father. These two, father and son, were Wang Lin and Wang Ping. Wang Lin's gaze was gentle. In a soft voice, he replied, "Soon." Late at night, moonlight bathed the earth like a veil of silver gauze. The coolness of the night spread across the land, casting a tranquil stillness over the mountain village beneath Chilean Peak. Except for the occasional soft bark of a dog, there was no sound at all. Inside the house, Wang Ping had already fallen asleep. Though his face was pale, he slept soundly, a sweet smile on his lips, clearly lost in a pleasant dream. Wang Lin sat cross-legged nearby. Between his brows, threads of thunder radiance flickered. Slowly, he raised his right hand, and the lightning followed the path from his brow down to his fingertips. Gently, Wang Lin pressed his fingers to Wang Ping's forehead. In that instant, lightning surged through the boy's body, causing waves of black mist to erupt from within him and gather on the surface of his skin. The black mist thickened, roiling like storm clouds under the current of lightning. Then, all at once, it burst out of Wang Ping's body. Wang Lin swiftly lifted his hand, and with a grasp, caught all the escaping mist, condensing it into a black mist ball. He clenched his fist, crushing it. A faint flush of color returned to Wang Ping's sleeping face. Looking at the boy, Wang Lin let out a quiet sigh. He rose, gently covering the child with the part of the blanket that had been kicked aside, then stepped outside. In the courtyard, the moonlight fell across Wang Lin, casting a solitary glow upon his figure. "It's been 5 years," he murmured softly. 5 years ago, Wang Lin returned to Ranyun Star and settled in Falling Moon Village. He had chosen this place because it reminded him of his childhood home. Wang Ping, once the grudge infant, had greatly improved. After taking the pill left behind by Willow Eyebrows and receiving Wang Lin's Thunder Divine Ability treatment, most of the resentment within him had dispersed. Now, he could live like a normal child. However, if he stopped taking medicine or neglecting the cleansing of resentment, it would return. The healing process would take time before he was fully free. Wang Ping's memories had been wiped by Wang Lin, replaced with a new beginning. In this peaceful village, Wang Lin's heart had also found rest. He had distanced himself from the bloodshed and chaos, embracing a life as calm as still water. He lived in earnest, just like his own father had, practicing the craft of carpentry for a living. His father's dream, had he not passed the imperial exams, was to become a carpenter. Now, Wang Lin carried on that legacy. The courtyard was filled with carpenter's tools, a reflection of the 5 years he had spent here. Whenever he saw Wang Ping running off to play with the other children, Wang Lin would recall his own younger days. At that same age, he too refused to return home until mealtime. Footsteps echoed outside the courtyard under the moonlight. A stooped figure slowly approached. "Is the child asleep?" An old voice called out. A slightly hunched man stepped into the courtyard. The moonlight revealed his features. This was Sun Tai. He looked even older now, his face deeply lined. In Wang Lin's 3rd year living here, Sun Tai had arrived, a lonely old man unwilling to pass on alone. Staring at the house bathed in moonlight, Sun Tai's eyes softened. For some reason, he felt a deep fondness for this boy named Wang Ping. "How long do you plan to stay with this child?" he asked slowly, his voice weighed down by the deathly aura that clung to him more heavily than before. Wang Lin said nothing. After a long silence, he looked up at the bright moon and softly replied, "An entire lifetime of reincarnations." "Reincarnation," Sun Tai sighed. "You don't plan to let him cultivate? With your cultivation, you could make his path much smoother than most, even better than the direct descendants of many cultivation clans." "I won't let him cultivate. Not in this life, not ever." There was a trace of sorrow in Wang Lin's eyes as he spoke. "This child has great talent," Sun Tai said after a pause. "I won't let him cultivate." Wang Lin's gaze settled firmly on Sun Tai. His tone was calm, but final. "Never. Cultivation. What did it ultimately bring?" Wang Lin had lived that life. He knew all too well. It brought no happiness, only loneliness. He would not let his child walk that path. He knew too well the cruelty of the cultivation world, the slaughter, the danger. Pinger has already suffered through things no child should have to face. I named him Wang Ping in the hope that he would live a life of peace and safety. A mortal life, marrying, raising children, and passing the years in quiet. Wang Lin's voice carried a resolute weight. As for cultivation, never speak of it again. His words held a firm and unyielding resolve, one that would never change. This year's winter came particularly early. Before winter even began, a heavy snow had already scattered across the land, freezing the few remaining dead leaves still clinging to the branches. As the snow wind blew, the dead leaves and snowflakes fell together to the ground. It was like the lifespan of a person. No matter how unwilling or reluctant one was, when the snow wind swept through, they had no choice but to go with it. Over the past 5 years, 3 elderly villagers had passed away, and 3 new lives had been born. It seemed like the cycle of reincarnation, turning without people even noticing. Sun Tai had grown even older. His house was next to Wang Lin's, and though small, it was shrouded in twilight, much like an ordinary mortal who knew their fate. He didn't like staying indoors all day. Instead, he sat in the courtyard, looking up at the sky, accompanied by memories of his former glory. Wang Ping, now 10 years old, looked more like a 7 or 8-year-old compared to the other children of the village. He was very frail, but his once pale face now had a touch of color. At 10, Wang Ping was exceptionally handsome. The villagers all adored this well-behaved and good-looking child. Among his playmates, many little girls had feelings for this boy from the village carpenter's family. The morning's heavy snow made the air feel even colder. Sun Tai sat peacefully in the courtyard, wearing a thick fur coat, gazing at the sky with a look of reminiscence in his eyes. Beside him, Wang Ping, also in a thick cotton coat, stood staring blankly at the sky. "Pinger, why didn't you go accompany your father? Why are you here with this old man?" Sun Tai asked kindly, looking down at Wang Ping. He genuinely liked the boy. If it weren't for Wang Lin's promise not to let him cultivate, Sun Tai would have eagerly passed on everything he knew. "I'm not going back. Aunt Zhang is here again." Wang Ping pouted, sounding displeased. Sun Tai smiled slightly and shook his head. "Don't worry, your father won't agree to it." "Not necessarily. Grandpa's son, look, Aunt Zhang's been here 12 times over the past 3 years. 12 times. All the older girls and aunts in the village seem to have taken a liking to my dad. What's going on?" Wang Ping frowned as he counted on his fingers. Sun Tai couldn't help but laugh, looking out of the courtyard. "Stop worrying about your father. Look, it seems like the second daughter of the Zhou family is here to find you." Wang Ping froze, then looked up at the courtyard. A little girl, about 7 or 8 years old, her face flushed red, was walking closer across the snow. "Wang Gij, are you there?" The girl's clear voice echoed from outside the courtyard. Wang Ping furrowed his brows and shouted, "I'm not here. Go away." With that, he walked out of the courtyard, not even looking at the girl whose eyes were now filled with moisture, and ran toward his house. Sun Tai smiled warmly, his eyes filled with affection. At this moment, Wang Lin, unlike Sun Tai, furrowed his brows, looking at a young woman who was speaking endlessly in front of him, wearing a bitter smile. Over the past 5 years, Wang Lin had aged slightly. Much like when he transformed into a mortal, in order to avoid shocking the world, his appearance had gradually shifted from youthful to middle-aged. Perhaps it was the weariness in his eyes, but despite being middle-aged, he exuded a strange aura that lingered, refusing to fade. "Wang family brother, you see, Pinger is already 10. The poor child doesn't have a mother. You should think about him, even if not for yourself, then for the child. The Zhao family's daughter at the village entrance is a virgin maiden. She's willing to marry you and promised to treat the child as her own. What more could you want?" The young woman, quite attractive, spoke with a kind heart, looking at Wang Lin with concern. A bitter smile deepened on Wang Lin's face as he helplessly replied, "This matter, let's forget about it." "Oh, Wang family brother, why make things difficult for yourself? I know you've been infatuated with Pinger's mother, so you haven't remarried. But life must go on. You've been here for 10 years now, haven't you? When you first arrived, you had a baby. Back then, I hadn't married yet. Now look, my child is already 8 years old." The woman continued, not giving up. At this point, Wang Ping pushed the door open forcefully, glared at the woman, and sat down without saying a word. Seeing that the woman was about to continue speaking, Wang Ping raised his voice. "Dad, I'm hungry." Wang Lin sighed in relief and said, "Let's forget about this matter." The woman sighed and shook her head. "Fine, if you don't want to, I can't force you. But, Wang brother, if you do have someone in mind, do let me know." She turned and glanced at Wang Ping before reaching out to pat his head. Wang Ping snorted and moved away. The woman laughed. "This child has quite the temper, just like your father. Back in our village, your father's temperament was one of the gentlest. No wonder so many girls came knocking on the door." With that, she turned and left. After the woman left, Wang Ping spoke up in a muffled voice, "Dad, you." Before he could finish, Wang Lin smiled faintly and said, "Don't think too much, little one. Aunt Zhang means well. Come, take your medicine." Wang Ping stared at his father with wide eyes, pouting. "But she wants to find me a stepmother. Look at Aruzi's dad. He found a stepmother for him, and now Aruzi's always hungry and gets scolded all the time." Wang Lin chuckled softly, ruffling Wang Ping's hair. "All right, I promise you. No stepmother. Is that good enough? Now, take your medicine. Wang Ping happily picked up the bowl and drank the medicinal soup in one gulp. This time, it didn't taste bitter at all. Instead, it felt somewhat sweet, a sweetness that came from his heart, from his deep attachment to his father. Father, with me by your side, you won't be lonely. When I grow up, I'll take care of you for the rest of your life, Wang Ping said as he put the bowl down, gazing seriously at Wang Lin. Wang Lin smiled, patted Wang Ping's head, and left the room. In the yard, he took a broom and began sweeping the snow. Once the yard was cleared, he picked up his tools and started working on some carpentry. Wang Ping watched his father through the window. After a moment of silence, he reflected. His memory was sharp, far beyond that of children his age. He clearly remembered asking his father about his mother when he was 4 years old. At the time, his father's expression had been strange. He didn't understand what that expression meant. But now, as he had grown up, he understood. That expression had been one of sorrow. He was a sensible child. From that moment on, he never asked about his mother again. As winter arrived, the snow continued to fall, one storm after another. The cold season had come, and the villagers had started to move less. As the harsh winter days passed, the spring winds arrived, gradually sweeping away the cold. The village's private school also opened in spring, and the children of the village began their studies there. Time passed quietly, day after day, like clear water with no ripples. In the stillness, there was warmth, washing over Wang Lin's weary soul. As Wang Ping grew day by day, Wang Lin no longer pursued enlightenment about the path of the heavens. Instead, with the mindset of a father, he quietly watched over Wang Ping. For these 10 years, aside from dispelling Wang Ping's grudges each night, he hadn't used any divine abilities. It was as if he had forgotten everything. Yet, in this forgetting, a subtle understanding of the cycle of life and death began to take shape in Wang Lin's heart, deepening as Wang Ping matured. Wang Lin's insights into the changes of death were profound, but his understanding of life was limited. As time passed, his Tao heart gradually healed his exhaustion and slowly moved toward completion. To perfect life and death was to understand the karmic cycle. Wang Lin's Tao concept gradually sublimated in this peaceful life. If a great cultivator with divine abilities saw this change, they would surely be stunned, for this transformation was not simple. It was a profound shift in the concept. The concept was a unique divine ability that cultivators comprehended after the destruction of the immortal realm. In fact, the Tao a cultivator followed was the manifestation of their concept. When traced back to its roots, everything was deeply connected to this concept. Therefore, for every cultivator, their concept was nearly fixed, and it was rare for it to undergo any elevation. The reason why the patriarch of the Phantom Clan valued Lu Mei was precisely because her concept had shown signs of sublimation. This prompted the patriarch to abandon his search for the heaven-defying pearl in the Cultivation Alliance and immediately bring Lu Mei back to the Phantom Clan. The core reason, apart from absorbing her, was his fear that such a person might be snatched away. Wang Lin was now walking this path, but due to his insufficient understanding of life in the cycle of life and death, even though there were signs of sublimating towards the path of karma, the change had not yet been complete. Thus, this transition marked a crucial process in Wang Lin's cultivation, one that would even determine his future achievements. Wang Lin only vaguely understood these matters. But if he could choose, he would never want to pay such a price for an opportunity that any cultivator would long for. Spring passed, autumn came, and 6 more years went by. This autumn, Sun Taizen seemed to have arrived a little earlier than expected. When he lay in his room, it was only Wang Lin and his son who saw him off. In this moment, he seemed like the early snow from 6 years ago, blowing away the reluctant fallen leaves and taking with it a trace of a soul from a foreign land. Wang Ping was already 16. His appearance was increasingly resembling Lu Mei's. Such looks, on a boy, were undeniably stunning. However, his eyes, like Wang Lin's, were pure, with distinct black and white. In his 16 years of growth, he had become quite sharp. He understood many things now, such as the fact that Sun Tai, in the past, had known his father for a long time. And it was clear that he held great respect for Wang Lin. Though this respect had never been explicitly expressed in conversation or outwardly displayed, Wang Ping could sense the underlying air of reverence. Sun Tai, I will fulfill the promise I made to you back then. Wang Lin's face appeared even more aged. He gazed calmly at Sun Tai lying on the bed and spoke slowly.